everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. And today we're doing the next episode of Daredevil.
Daredevil Born Again, Season 1, Episode 5, With Interest. And this, actually, we were going to review this last night, but it just came out so late. And for some reason, we don't have Disney Plus on Hulu or something. Like, it's really weird. Like, we used to be able to watch, like, all this stuff on Hulu, and now we can't for some reason. It's like, it's so bizarre.
Oh, Disney took it over. And I don't know, they put all kinds of qualifications on it. I don't know.
Why wouldn't Daredevil be on there? It's like something, like, it's almost like they want to make it so that you're forced to get Disney Plus all by itself, which I'm never going to do.
No.
And never going to support Disney like that. So we have to watch this on a special website. And so we reviewed the first one this morning. Or we watched the first one this morning. And we will review the second one tomorrow. And it is only because we will be doing some food reviews later in the evening. Because we mentioned we got those Gordon Ramsay meals. So, yeah. And that's our Wednesday activity. So, Safi, what did you think about this episode of Daredevil?
I really liked it. I thought it was short. I think Marco had said it was 45 minutes. But it was very...
It was 30...
It was very edited.
30-something minutes.
37? Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was very... just really perfectly done, I thought. And... very well edited and very neat and short and sweet. And we wondered why they were releasing 2 this week, and this is probably why. I don't know how long the next one is because I haven't watched it yet, but because this one was so short. So maybe the next one's short. I don't know. So combined, it'd be like one long episode.
I think they should have released it last week because of St. Paddy's Day.
Yeah, that's true.
I think
you're right. I agree.
They should have done the double episode last week. But I really enjoyed it. Too. I thought that it kind of reminded me of like a comic book or like a video game side mission or something. It just felt like it was very tight and it was very contained. You know, it was like a Daredevil comic of the week. You know, you have this little story. It's very brisk and fast-paced, suspenseful. Safi's like rotating a piece of a broken shovel on the floor for some reason. And I thought it was a pretty good episode. I wouldn't say that it was great because I still feel like this season... And I know that this is probably going to be kind of like a dumb complaint to make since they had to do a lot of reshoots. But I just feel like the show is very choppy. And it feels very much like you're watching footage of a show that's been assembled together without being like fully edited. Like, I feel like the old Daredevil show, it really felt like a show. It had a cinematic quality to it. I mentioned this before. And this show, it does not really feel cinematic like that. It feels very much like a Disney Plus show. And I just don't understand why Disney thinks that it's good to release products or movies or shows that have this kind of low quality in terms of... It's not the fact that it wasn't a good quality of like the camera or anything of how they shot the show. It's how it looks. How they make it look in editing, and how it's so choppy, it's so thrown together, and yeah.
Well, I really liked it, and this is probably the first time that Daredevil reminds me of Batman in a certain way. It's interesting because Daredevil, he says he grew up in an orphanage because his father died when he was a kid. And we all know that backstory, but then he does this, and he was blinded, but he can do all these things. He helps people, and then Batman is like a rich on the other side of the coin, he's rich, and he helps people. And I don't know, it just they're very, but it's just that all these other movies about Marvel characters that have come out over the recent years, they just don't seem, the people don't, they don't seem real. They seem more comic book. They just, and this guy seems very real. He still has his, I mean, it starts off, he's at the bank trying to get a loan for his law firm to grow it and hire more people so they can get more clients. And so that's like he's not rich. He's a working person, but he still has all these amazing abilities that, and also this wanting to help people. And I just really like it. I really like his character. And
yeah, I would say a big, I don't know how you would, what word you would use, like a big, like something bad about the episode that really kind of takes you out of it is the whole Miss Marvel connection.
I didn't get that.
I really didn't like that at all. You know, Safi, that's an MCU superhero. She is a terrible, terrible character. Nobody really likes her at all.
Is this the Captain Marvel that was the woman?
The actress who plays her is nice. She's really cool, but the character is terrible. She was basically made as like a diversity quota character, and her whole character is basically a female ripoff of Mr. Fantastic, where she has big hands. Her hands stretch out like Mr. Fantastic, and so she's basically just a rip-off, cheap bargain bin quota character.
Well, I thought that was out of place. Comment.
Yeah, but well, the whole story, the whole thing with having that dad there, that guy, which the actor, he has had some real life controversy. I can't remember what it was, but it was really bad. It might have had something to do with I don't want to say it, but like, it's really strange how, like, they just put him in everything. Like, he was in Captain Marvel too, and of course she was in that, but, you know, it's like, and he was in, I think, other, like, MCU Disney Plus shows, like, he might have been in Hawkeye or something. Like, it's just really strange.
Why they mention that?
It's really strange why they just keep putting him in all these movies and shows like he's some beloved character. I mean, he's a terrible character. He's lame. He's boring. There's nothing about him that's likable at all. And it's like, it kind of sours the whole episode for me, because it's like, I don't want to think about those stupid MCU characters that nobody likes. I want to think about Daredevil. I want to think about Foggy and Karen. I don't want to think about Miss Marvel and her stupid family that nobody cares about. Like, and I'm sorry if that sounds mean, but I really don't give a fuck. It takes me out. It took me out of the show, and that would be my biggest complaint about the episode, is that I hate how Daredevil from Netflix is in the same universe as these terrible characters.
Well, since I didn't see that movie, but I did find, even though I don't really know anything about that character, except I remember that you did not like it, and that it was not good, and the people didn't go see the movie, or they didn't like the movie that she did, and I thought the remark was out of place. I don't know, it was like you have a whole cake and it's sweet, and then you add like a hot pepper to it or something. I don't know, it was just really weird, but it didn't sour the whole episode for me. It just kind of was out of place.
Well, it's not like it makes the episode a bad episode. I still said the episode's very good. It
doesn't add anything either.
Yeah, it does not. You really just have to ignore it, though, and
Well, that's what I did. I just thought still as.
It's kind of like it's kind of like the equivalent of like giving someone food with something secretly in it that they really don't like. It's like on those stupid like weight loss shows and those like Biggest Loser, like they're like, okay, like we want you to eat more vegetables, and so instead of making regular spaghetti, we want you to make eggplant spaghetti, where the noodles are made out of eggplant, and it's just like, ugh, don't do that. Like, that's what this episode was like for me with the Miss Marvel thing. Other than that, it was pretty good. It was intense. It was suspenseful, as I already said before. I don't know, though. I'm still kind of... The more and more we get of this show, the more and more I kind of miss the Netflix show. Yeah. To be honest, like... I don't know. I hope season 2 is better, because, I mean, we're over halfway through the show now. There's been no Daredevil.
Well, secretly.
Yeah, secretly.
Even with him not even putting on an outfit.
But just I really...
stealing somebody else's mask.
I really hope that Daredevil is on the Daredevil show pretty soon, because, I mean, it's getting a little ridiculous now. I mean, we got him somewhat in this episode. He was really cool. The things that he did were really cool. Like, I really liked the part where... and they showed this in the trailer. And honestly...
I didn't see any trailers, so...
It was kind of like for no reason at all that he did this, but at the end, one of the bank robbers dresses up as a cop to escape the robbery, because the SWAT team broke in there and they were arresting everyone. And Matt tracks him down to this little tunnel area, and he like drop kicks his ankle and breaks it.
Oh, God, you could hear it.
And it was just like, that is something cool. That's something, like, I want to see more of that. Like, this is a brutal, savage Daredevil, but, like, it was literally for no reason. Like, he did not have to break his ankle in half like that. Like, it was, like, just completely... He didn't shoot any of the hostages or anything, and it's like, no, I'm gonna break your fucking ankle. And it's like, seriously? Like...
Well, it's made up. It still sounded awful. Gross. Because you could just imagine. They also did something really cool, too, at the end, too. The very, very end. But I won't say what it is yet until... what happened in the bank? Well, he was there to apply for a loan, and they said no. And he left the building. This is Matt. He left the building, and he was on his way, and then he could hear, he wasn't too far away, and he could hear the problem going on there, because how many people were there? How many robbers? There were 3 or 4, and they came in there, they had, like, what are those things, those AK or AR-40s?
I think there were 5.
Whatever they are. And he could kind of hear that. He has such cute hearing. And so he called the cops from where he was, said, call 911. So that's why nobody in the bank called them. He had somebody in his office call them, because they wanted to know about the loan. That's what he was talking to them about when he was on his way out the door down the street. So they were on their way, and so he goes, but I don't know, well, you can go on from now, but still from here, he goes back to the bank, and of course they're all making everybody get down and threatening everybody, and they all have like masks on. They're all Irish too. They all have Irish accents. And today, or that day, it's supposed to be like St. Patty's Day. That's why Marco said it. They should have put it on last week. Yeah. And and they're in New York, right? So they have that humongous parade. They have all these people going to the bars. They have tourists there. They have people coming in. So I mean, it's really crowded down there. And so and then they have to get to this bank. And anyway, so he comes back, and they're like telling him to sit down, and he says, I'm a counselor.
Safi, are you going to go through the whole thing?
Well, I don't know what else to say about it.
You said you wanted to say that you thought there was one cool thing that happened at the end, and then instead of that, you went all the way back to the beginning and said, well, actually, this is how the episode starts, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. At the very end of the episode, he returns. Basically, the bank robbers were only there to get one jewel and that was it. Is payment for something to do with Kingpin and his wife. They set up some sort of I can't remember the specifics, but it was like this guy who had gotten killed or something at like a stop and at like a gang thing, and they needed to pay them back with a jewel. And so that was the whole point of the bank robbery. And
well, they won it in the vault.
Safi,
And everybody
what are
thought,
you doing?
there was money in the vault. Well, it's
Oh,
just
God.
safety deposit boxes.
she's
So
still
they wanted
doing
in a
it.
particular safety deposit box
She's
that
still
had this
doing it.
jewel.
She's still doing it.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh God, Safi, you really need to get better at reviewing, because it's pretty bad. Like your performance review.
Okay, Marco,
your
I agree.
performance
Would you
review
move on now?
Your performance review has failed. You have not evolved as a reviewer. You have instead de-evolved into a monkey. And so the end of this episode is Daredevil puts the jewel into this butterscotch candy dish and hides it, and then gets one of them and eats it. So basically he can give it back to Miss Marvel's stupid father without actually giving it to him. And that's the end of the episode. I would give this episode a B. Safi, what would you give
an
it?
A.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was very short and slick and very well edited, and it had him still, he's not completely into the Daredevil thing. When he assaulted that bad guy, at the guy who had dressed up like a cop, he had kept one of the masks that one of the robbers had. He pulled it off and he put it in his pocket. Well, he put that on, and then he broke his ankle or whatever he did, and he's still like kind of starting to get back into it, but without completely being into it. So, and I think he gets the loan in the end too, for helping.
Yeah, that was also kind of queer. It's like, and I think too, I've seen better bank robbery episodes. You know, Psych has a bank robbery episode which was really good with Cameron from Ferris Bueller, and trying to think, the X-Files, of course. That is actually my favorite episode of the series. The one where it's basically like Groundhog Day meets bank robbery, and I thought that was really good. And I'm trying to think if there's any others, but I mean, maybe that's why I didn't like it as much as Safi. Of course, Safi has seen both of those episodes, so she really doesn't have an excuse, but I guess that she's more of a casual fan of Daredevil. She just really likes to see the Daredevil guy. Right, Safi?
Marco,
Well,
hush up.
Safi, can you defend that Miss Marvel connection?
I don't care. I'm not going to let that ruin the whole thing for me.
Yeah, but it's
I just
like,
thought it was out of place to say that.
it's kind
He's
of
talking
like,
about his daughter, and then all of a sudden he brings that up, and
it's kind of like when you're doing like a group project, like back when you did those in school, and 3 out of the 4 people in the group do all the work, and then the 4th person doesn't do anything.
Marco
and then,
had a few of those. That's why that really reminds him.
And then they get the credit too, and it's like, oh, good job! They did such a good job, even though they didn't do shit. And that actually happened in one of the 7th grade math class. But in that case, I was the only person in the group who did any work, and so the project involved teaching the lesson to the class. And so the other people just didn't know anything. And the teacher, I can't remember. The teacher was a retard. But I think he could tell that like they did not know anything about it because they just didn't bother to do the work. But you know, that's what it reminds me of, is that like it's like you're shoehorning in these gross, stupid characters that nobody likes, these stupid stories. Like, I don't want to think about Miss Marvel.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out the motive of them putting that in, because See, I didn't realize this guy had been a character in all these different shows. I've never seen him before. And so it didn't matter to me. But then I'm thinking maybe they wanted to remind people that he'd been in all his shows.
It's basically Disney showing off. And Disney saying, like, look, Daredevil's a part of the family now. Like, he's in the same universe as Miss Marvel. Isn't that cool? Throw up.
I just think they could have left that out. But since I wasn't aware of all that, it did seem out of place.
It really soured it for me.
It didn't make any difference. See, what happens is they wanted the bank manager to open the vault. But he is that guy, I don't know, they said he had a problem and he was going to be late by a couple of hours. So this guy had to take his place. He's the assistant bank manager. And so they were wanting to use him to open the vault. And so that was why, and also Matt, instead of meeting with that other guy who's supposed to be there for the loan, he had to meet with this guy. So he was an integral part to the episode. It's just the thing when they were talking in the beginning about the loan and their families, etc. He mentioned that thing about Miss Marvel.
Oh yeah, I just remembered another one. Spider-Man 2. You have that whole sequence where Peter and Aunt May are at the bank. That was a great scene all by itself. And then Doc Ock shows up. He steals a bunch of gold, bunch of money, and then he kidnaps Aunt May. He has that whole fight with Spider-Man on the buildings. Excuse me.
That's a lot.
That was epic, and that was really cool. So Safi, see? And I kind of think, too, maybe they were thinking about that, and maybe that's why they added a whole bank robbery thing in, because they thought about Spider-Man 2, which, I don't know. But, so anyways, another thing that I thought was kind of strange was the whole thing where he wore the red mask. After he left the bank and he attacked the bank robber, he wore that red mask to attack the bad guy, because what I thought was going to happen was, I thought he was going to wear the red mask and pretend like he was one of them and kind of like trap them down in the vault. You know, like go back up there and be like, hey guys, you got to see this or something, and then bring them back down or something. But things didn't really go according to plan very much in this robbery scenario. You know, like, did you think that was going to happen, Safi?
No, but
really?
I just thought about it, and I thought they were there to steal money. And number one, they didn't have any money in the vault.
Safi, you already mentioned that.
I know that.
Twice.
But number two is, I thought that was overkill to have that many people with the guns. What? I didn't think they needed that many people.
Why?
I don't know. I thought it was overkill for one little jewel in one little box. To me, that's a little much.
Well, maybe it's because they're trying to disguise it as like a bank robbery like that, like a normal one.
Maybe.
You know, like, because they were saying to bring all those APVs, which you would think, that's so that they can put a bunch of money in all the different APVs. Like,
well, I was thinking they were going to take hostages. And that's why they wanted that.
Oh.
So,
I guess that could be an interpretation.
It's just differences of interpretation. That's all.
My interpretation is better than yours.
I don't care. Okay?
I'm just kidding. But anyways, I can't wait to review the next episode, and hopefully Safi takes the time out before we do our dashing today.
I have no idea what he's talking about. He needs to quit berating me.
Well, Safi, you're not facing the camera. This whole time, like, your voice has been low because
Bernie is sitting on my chair.
But the camera's over here, so if you could still sit facing toward the microphone, which is what a professional reviewer would do.
Yeah, I know. So
if you know, then why don't you do it?
I'm sitting on the bed.
If you know, then why don't you do it?
And I'm looking over at the chair and thinking, why is Bernie sitting on the chair now? Because he likes to come in here in the afternoon.
Because Bernie likes to be in my room all the time.
He likes to sit in here a lot. But see, what happens is in the morning I feed the squirrels little pieces of apple and nuts out in the back. I started that during the winter. And he kind of like sits there at the window and watches them all. And then when they're done, he's bored and he wants to go sleep, and he can come in here and sleep. So that's what he likes to do. And sometimes he comes in here at night too. But he really likes coming in here in the afternoon.
So you know that, and you're still questioning why he's in here.
Well, I don't know. Somebody else wanted him to go in the other room, and sometimes he forgets and he'll sleep in the other room chair.
Sometimes you forget things too, Safi. Like,
Marco,
you forgot about Daredevil.
But I liked the episode, and I don't know. I don't think it's completely just about the bank robbery. I think it's Daredevil becoming Daredevil again.
Kind of
like just a gradual slipping into what he used to do. And they're not just going to like throw him into it.
Well, it's like
a gradual, and starting to like build up a little bit, and faster and faster. Maybe the next episode he will completely, I don't know.
If you compare this with last episode with the whole popcorn thing, he did such a better job at like serving justice, getting justice by being Daredevil than he did by being a lawyer. So maybe that's what they were also trying to show too, and that would also support my claim that this should have been aired with last week's episode, because it's showing that like, look at how good of a job that he did as Daredevil here, where he was like, he got the jewel back, no hostages were killed. You know, basically, it was kind of like an epic failure for the whole bank robbery thing, so, yeah.
I know. That means somebody's going to get punished.
The Kingpin.
The Kingpin's going to get punished, or are they going to get punished?
Are you going to get punished by Daredevil?
Well, so that's it. You have anything else to say?
No.
Okay, well, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and we're getting close to 700 subscribers, and if you want to become one of those, you're more than welcome, and you can tell us what you thought about the episode too, and we'll see you later. Bye!